Hello everybody and welcome to another Transformers third party review. In today's video, thanks to the team over at Robot Kingdom, we're taking a look at the latest offering from FansToys in the form of their FT-22 KOOT. This is of course their interpretation of a masterpiece style cup. Just taking a quick look at the back of the box, we've got a nice bio there for KOOT, as well as some nice imagery of him in his bot mode and vehicle mode, including the alternative chest configuration and his Targetmaster. Here we have KOOT outside his packaging. He comes boxed in a lovely styrofoam insert, like most FansToys figures, keeping him nice and snug during transit. He comes with an instruction manual and a collector's card. He also comes with a couple of different accessories. We have a very G1 style shooter there. We've got a nice little handle there which can move up and down for the vehicle mode. We get two replacement pieces of plastic to go over the chest. These aren't actually completely translucent like they show on the packaging. They're actually kind of a smoked colour, which in my opinion does look better when you switch them out. But at the same time, it is a little tiny bit misleading nonetheless. But hey, they seem fairly solid and they are pretty easy to switch out. We get the centerpiece which goes between them for vehicle mode. We get the alternative cigar smoking face, very kind of IDW comic book stylized there. And we also get a second set of eye inserts. They're a very similar shade, if not exactly the same as the ones already installed. And we get not one, but two itty bitty tiny cigars for me to lose. Let's take a look at Cup first. He is a very good looking figure. He does have a backpack. We've also seen pictures of the X-Transbots version coming out, and he does have a much slimmer backpack, but he's not to everybody's taste. I don't think you're going to be disappointed with either choice. I went for this one, and of course I will get the X-Transbots to compare. And we also get a QC sticker to say that this has been checked before being packaged and shipped, so there definitely won't be any faults with this guy at all. He looks good, doesn't he? That's a very good likeness to Cup. He bears a very good resemblance to both the toy and his animation counterpart. I'm particularly impressed by that face sculpt. He looks like a grumpy old man, doesn't he? He's got bags under his eyes, he's got those kind of raised out gaunt looking cheekbones, and the eyes are piercing. It's a very vibrant, almost a Ford electric blue there, and he just looks like Cup. He looks like he's seen the world, and he's not a happy bunny. It's not perfect, but it's a damn good attempt. For those of you concerned with weight, he weighs in at 322 grams. That's 11.35 ounces, so that's not bad. And height-wise, we're looking just shy of 8 inches, about just over 7.5. That's around 19 centimeters from toe to top of his head. And for a quick scale comparison, here he is alongside some of his fellow Autobots. He really does fit in quite nicely. I mean, come on, that looks freaking awesome, doesn't it? Right, now let's take a closer look at Cup himself. I do like this translucent orange section here on the crotch, and we've got the same orange mirrored on those arms there. We've got a little bit of colour breaking up this huge die-cast chunk on those legs. I think the majority of the weight is in these nice big panels here. Got the nice little lip there on the front. This was red, I believe, wasn't it? That line there was completely red in the cartoon, and then the logo was on his chest there. He looks good. I'm so glad we finally have a Cup, but you know what it is, it's going to be one Cup comes out. I know Toy World did their Cup. It was different. I think it kind of looked like the designers left during the process and then it was just released, but that's just my opinion. The articulation is pretty darn good as well. He can look up, Not a great range, but it's definitely enough. And we can look down, although the head doesn't really want to look down that much. It does kind of spring. We can go left and we can go right, and we can tilt to the side for when he's telling his stories. The shoulders are on a lovely soft ratchet, goes all the way up. No real hindrance with the backpack there. We can come out to the side. There is an upper bicep rotation, although this shoulder just wants to rotate all the time. It does so much work in there. Yeah, upper bicep rotation. We do get a double jointed bend at the elbow. Again, a very nice kind of sliding mechanism going on there. Looks very much like a piston. I do love a double jointed elbow, but sometimes the companies make them look so unattractive and really out of place, but this one, not so much. It's a nice kind of sliding piston, and it looks very in keeping with the rest of KOOT. We do get a rotation on that wrist, and unfortunately the fingers are all sculpted together. I initially thought that the trigger finger was separate, but it isn't. It's just sculpted into that position, and then they are pinned, and there is no rotation or articulation on the thumb. The waist can rotate left and right this much. You can make it go further round, but it then pops out these side pod panel sections. There is no abdominal crunch. Hit skirts to the side and front allow for motion this far forwards on a lovely ratchet, and this far back. Unfortunately, the rear skirts don't move. We can come out to the side on a friction joint. We get an upper thigh rotation, and we get a lovely double jointed knee. Again, not as attractive as the elbow joints, but definitely not an eyesore. And coming down to the feet, they can go down and up, and we do get a little bit of tilt in there as well, so you can get a fairly wide stance. Something I do like about KOOT, as we have friction joints on KOOT's thighs going outwards, we can get very natural poses. We don't have to have one click here, one click there, and they are tight enough to still hold KOOT upright. There's nothing worse than a loose friction joint. Having those big old chunks of die cast in those feet really does help with his stability, and for an old timer he's definitely still got it. Now let's take a look at his Targetmaster companion. First off, this is the first Targetmaster I believe that FansToys have given us. They've given us a Headmaster, the one that came with Weird Wolf, and he was okay. He was quite small, but then most third-party companies are doing fairly small Headmasters, but their Targetmaster, he is extremely loaded with articulation, and that's a fantastic looking head sculpt for somebody this small. It is a shame, unfortunately, that the head really doesn't move a great deal. There's no real up and down motion, but it does go left and right, but I think that's kind of more than adequate for a figure of this stature. The arms can go all the way around on a ball joint. You can come up, kind of hunch up like so. We've got a little bit of play left and right on those as well. We have, in essence, a double jointed elbow. We've got a ball socket here, and then we have a hinge, so it can be brought upwards, and we can also rotate that forearm left and right. We don't have any waist rotation, unfortunately, but we do have nice range going forwards, and backwards is somewhat hindered by the gun, and we also get a little bit of rotation in there. We do have a double jointed knee, but again, the tips of the gun do hinder that somewhat, and we get a really nice pivot on those feet as well, so we can hold a very nice wide stance, as well as being able to go up and down, left and right. And as far as comparing his size to Takara and X-Transbot's offering, yes, they are all slightly different sizes, but they all seem very in scale with one another, and none of them look out of place. I mean, people come in all different shapes and sizes, and I still see these as Nebulons, and they're different heights. And if we just bring Spike in his exosuit in as well, as you can see, again, I think the proportions are pretty much spot on. Now, as amazing as these two look, I would get them transformed up into their vehicle and gun modes. I will be displaying them, of course, in their robot modes, but hey, let's have some fun and change him up. Let's start off with our Targetmaster. Let's bring the gun section up to the back, and that goes all the way up. Now, people have said they want to rotate this head around, but you can't really rotate it around due to the cut in here. You need the peak of his crest to be at the front. So we bring this all the way up so it covers his head, and we flip this handle all the way down, and that just locks into place. Bend his arms at those ball jointed elbows, and then on their hinge. The arms are then going to rock inwards to what is the front of the chest, and this one has a peg and this one has a groove, and they're just going to come in and peg together nicely on that chest piece. The legs rotate around like this. They then peg together, making sure this lower leg here is straight, then bend over on these hinges, and this is just going to kind of clip over this hinge here and just push that down, and that locks into place, and there we have the gun. It's a very nice looking gun, and yes, I know the head kind of pokes out from the inside there, but you really do not see this at all. And we have a nice little masterpiece style peg there, which allows us to peg it into the palm of Cup's hand. Right, now let's get KOOT transformed up. Let's start with the shoulders. These two tab pieces here, you want to get a nail if you've got one. Oh, they're very stiff, and just flip that in like so. Just lift those up enough so they clear the chest cavity, because that now allows us to bring this chest piece forward. And look, we've got some tape on the inside there. I have no idea what that's doing on there. Maybe it's to protect something. Anybody else had tape? Now this piece with Cup's head on is tabbed in just underneath here. You want to just bring this back like this. Now this is also a very good time to change out the face sculpt, because you've got a lot of access underneath here. It is literally just getting your thumb underneath and just working that face out, and popping that face out. You got the eye section here which just slides in. Let's bring in that secondary face. Again, I've already got the eyes installed. We can just peg that back in and just give that a push, and there is that secondary face. He's already got that sneer going on. Let's get one of these itty bitty tiny cigars. They are rectangular, and there's a rectangular hole in his mouth. Let's just push that in, and there he is. There's Cup with his cigar. Looks awesome. I'm not going to transform that with that in there, because that's going to get lost. I'm just literally asking for trouble. And again, this is a good time to change out the chest pieces, because we have full access to all of these. Now they do come off fairly easy. It's not rocket science. Just get a nail or something in behind these, and they just slide off. There's a nice detailing on there, and these just come in and just pop in over the top. Again though, as previously mentioned, I'm not a huge fan of how these look, but yeah, you get the idea. I will just switch those back out though. Right, after digressing slightly, let's go back to the transformation. Pull this piece down, and there's this piece here which is going to fold upwards. You need to pull this out, and this is going to rotate all the way up. And as you can see, this is the center windscreen piece, and this again is what we could change out by popping that off and placing that clear translucent piece on. Slide these wheels around like so, and then this joint that the wheels are on, you need to slide that all the way up until it clicks, and then this piece just unplugs from here. Just push, and this comes away. Right, you want to lift the hip skirt upwards like this. That's just then going to come around to the back. It's meant to all fit behind here, but they're in a lot of room. It says about pushing stuff up and nothing moves. Unplug this section again, bring that round to the side. Slide the chest pieces open, and you want to bring those up. These are meant to flip around for vehicle mode. Not the easiest to access, but just give them a little push and they should rotate quite nicely like this. And with these opened up, lots of die cast in here, we can bring this all the way up to the top and bring the arms up, and then this hinge here collapses down, so these just drop. Rotate the elbow joints so they face outwards. You want to bend this hinge upwards like this, and then this one down, and then we can just align this arm up and give that a little tug so it fits in nicely into that groove, and pushing down that will hinge this piece all the way back so it's a lot lower down. Bring these wheels over to the front, moving everything forwards. Cup's head is going to do the old flipperoonie into the inside. As to these shoulder joints, they can just come down. Bring this piece down, push these skirt pieces on the inside and push these pieces up. Come to this section, and that wants to rotate on that axis. Come to the feet, point the toes down and flip this piece up, and we have spring loaded wheels. I think that is fantastic. Rotate the legs inwards, pull this piece here just enough so it comes over this latch, and then the legs can come forwards. And with everything all tucked in now, we can then start folding all of this piece back over. Bring in these side sliding sections. Let's put that in place and then begin to slide those down. And then at the same time, I'm just going to rock this piece up. And there's a tab here, and some slots on the corresponding side, and they're just going to push down, and that's all going to tab in nicely, he says. There we go, nice and tidy. Straighten this section out and bend it at this hinge. You want to rotate the legs down, and this hinge is going to bend there. It's a double hinge, but just bend the top piece and then bend the lower hinge outwards, and there we have the wheels alongside the leg. Bring down this canopy section, and there's these two slots here. They're going to correspond with the grooves on the back of the canopy. Pushing these into them slots, we can then push the thigh into a tab just on the base here, which keeps the legs nice and straight, and then line this piece up with the fists, and everything's kind of slotted in nicely there. Just make sure that's all tabbed in nice and firmly. Then once you just bring this wheel piece down, you need a little bit of clearance here. You want to lift this tab up. It's on a slider. You want to slide it so it actually goes in the center, and that is actually going to rock forwards, and there's a tab there. It's going to rock all the way down, and it's going to cover up this arm piece. We go in, this piece is going to hinge down, push down, line up, this piece comes in over the top, and with this piece hinged, you want to just slide it over this joint here. That's going to slide into this gap, and then everything just pushes and clicks into place. Make sure everything is lined up where it should be, and this is all looking rather nice indeed. And there we have one very tidy, slightly frustrating to transform version of Cup. We can then bring in either of his guns. I prefer the Targetmaster, and we can just tilt that back, or we can rotate it around and have it facing backwards. Now, considering it's kind of a Cybertronian pickup, I think that scale definitely works. It's very in keeping with the rest of the Masterpiece line, and I honestly think FansToys have done a very good job. I know it was a little bit frustrating getting everything to tab in super tight, but man, once it's in, it looks the part, and it's got so much heft to it. I could feel like he could just take on Blitzwing in a head-on collision. He is a beast. All the wheels do roll. Especially love these sprung wheels at the back. He does roll very nicely as well. Targetmaster doesn't look amazing being posed on the back there, but you know, it's a good homage to the original toy. It's not overly an eyesore as such. It's just I don't particularly like the angle in which he's firing, but beggars cannot be choosers. FansToys have delivered a very good masterpiece cup. Grimlock thinks so as well. So there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, FansToys KOOT. This is available now to purchase from Robot Kingdom. I've included a link in the description below. I hope you've found this video useful. If you have, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, share, and of course subscribe. And why not take a look at my side channel, which is all about knockoffs. I've included a link in the I button up the top here, as well as a link just here, which will take you through to my latest video. Until next time, from myself and KOOT, goodbye.